Ween. We're just starting the podcast. You can't leave. Fucking ween dog. Motherfucking ween dog, that's what she is. She's a fucking ween dog, that's what she is. Don't stare at me like that, Ween. How dare you? How dare you? Hey everybody, it is me, your boy, Stu McAllister, and this is the Elemental Podcast. Thank you very much for listening to this horse shit. Monday, August 16th. It's me, your host, Stu McAllister, comedian in semi-retirement? Sure, let's call it that. I've decided to focus on becoming a professional podcaster because there's so much money in podcasting. Holy fuck, I am watching a video of all of this nonsense that's happening in Afghanistan. Oh, fuck, I'll get to that in a hot minute. It is very disturbing. But what's disturbing for me is my goddamn cat was pissing on my couch this morning. I caught him. He immediately ran away into the basement because he knew he was doing wrong. I don't understand. There are 3 cats and 4 litter boxes in the basement. Go downstairs and piss in the goddamn box, you motherfucker. You just don't want to deal with it. You just don't want to deal with stuff like that right off the bat. You wake up right off the bat. You let the dogs out. You feed the cats. You feed the dog. You make your own coffee. You make your lunch. You turn around. There's your cat pissing on your couch. I'm beginning to understand why grandparents used to like wrap their couches in plastic. I don't necessarily think it's because cats were pissing on it, but I think now that would be a good fucking thing to have. To prevent your cat from pissing on the fucking couch. So I was out delivering dots. For those who don't know, I deliver Dippin' Dots, the ice cream treat. That's my job. That's the day job. Good times, good times. Drive all over the great state of Michigan and beyond. I had to go to goddamn Toledo today. You ever go to Toledo? Don't go. Holy Toledo. It should be holy shit Toledo. But it just makes for a long day. It was a long day. I had to deal with a lot of nonsense. A lot of places had meltdowns and just had not called the business, so I just had to deal with it. Just craziness. It's amazing to me when people, there's a meltdown. There's an act of God because God wiped out their power. They lose power. And they look at me like, oh, well, can we get it replaced? And I just say to them, I explain to them, well, when we gave you these freezers, we told you, we are not responsible for things that are like an act of God. Because if we lose all the power at our warehouse and all our product goes to shit, are we allowed to sell it to you? You buy it because, well, you would have fucking bought it. You would have bought it. You would have bought it from us. So you buy this shit product from us. Why the fuck are we going to reimburse you for your shit? It's the rewards and the risk of being a business owner, of selling shit. And when you sell ice cream, that's just fucking how it goes, man. So I exchanged 2 freezers today because of it, and I had to go pick up a fucking sliding bulk one. Essentially, it's a chest freezer with a sneeze guard. And I had to pick that up from the people over on Belle Isle. Belle Isle, if you don't know, it's this island in I think it's the Detroit River. Right there in between Detroit and fucking Canada. There it sits. They have a fucking race car race on it yearly, I believe. Not IndyCar, the other shit. And people go and they fucking, there's beaches on it and other shit. And there's this place there that sells concessions, and they got like 5 different food trucks, right? And a long time ago, they thought they would sell the shit out of Dippin' Dots. And boy, were they incorrect? They wanted to sell bulk. And I will tell every place of business, do not sell bulk. It is inconvenient. You need to have somebody there to man it, to fucking scoop this shit into cups. It's bullshit. Don't fucking do it. It's dumb. And I was right, because they had this thing locked up in a trailer with just shit buried on top of it. And then for whatever reason, those dumb fucks took the wheels off the fucking freezer. Now this thing, as I mentioned, it's a chest freezer with the sneeze guard on it. So it's big. It is too big for one person to lift on their own. And thank God the guy that was working there was willing to help me. I got my truck as close as I could, and we were able to get it in relatively easy. Thank God that guy helped me, because otherwise I'd have been like, well, I can't fucking get it. Can't get it. You dick fucks took the wheels off for whatever fucking reason. You decided to take something that's easy to move and super convenient for everybody and make it incredibly difficult. You fucks. My boss is looking to fucking shit can them as customers too, because they just are always difficult. Always fucking difficult. Always fucking difficult. And there was another place that I had to pick up the freezer from today, because they were shit fucks. It is this place where I generally like the guys, but over the past year, they just have not been doing what they should be doing. They were using the freezer for use of the restaurant. They were fucking storing meat in it. They were using it as like a meat locker, not an ice cream freezer as they should have been using. Because every time I'd go in there, I'd open it up and there'd just be huge like ham hocks, fucking whole turkeys and shit like that in this fucking freezer. And I would tell my boss, well, yep, they're just using it to fucking store meat. Let's just take the goddamn freezer. And they finally said, Stu's right, let's take the fucking freezer. So it was something I was getting on my route today. So I get a hold of my boss. I'm like, am I getting the freezer today, or what are we doing? He's like, yes, take the freezer. So I call them and I go, hey, this is Stu from David Dots. I'm coming to get your freezer today. And they're like, oh, God, we didn't know anything about it. And I'm like, of course, that's why I'm calling you, because I know everybody fucks up. Everybody's a fucking idiot. Nobody fucking communicates things. I'll tell you, there were 3 times today where the guys, the salesmen at Dippin' Dots, fucked up. 3 times, 3 different customers. I'm just like, yeah, this guy is just making my life shit today. Just, it's simple communication. And I hate to say it, sometimes you need to get off your goddamn fucking keyboard and actually talk to someone, whether it's face to face or fucking on the phone, because that is how you goddamn communicate with people. Emails are shit. You can email someone and you can send it off into the abyss. Did they read it? Who the fuck knows? Did it get to the right person? Who the fuck knows? Did anyone ever see it? Who the fuck knows? You call somebody. You fucking can talk to somebody. You can leave a voicemail. Something way better than a goddamn email. But fuck me, man. This world we live in, it's all fucking emails. It's all fucking bullshit. So I get the freezer, and they were like, yep, we got it all empty. Get the freezer. And guess what? They took the wheels off it, too. So thank God it's just a smaller freezer, so I was able to use the fucking dolly I have. But I'm like, why are all you fucks making life so much difficult for yourself and ultimately for me? So many motherfuckers. A lot of wasted product, too. A lot of places lost business, and I had to explain to a lot of people, too. I'm like, hey, there's this thing called dry ice that you can purchase at Meijer. If you guys don't know what Meijer is, it's the Walmart of the Midwest. For some reason, Walmart doesn't sell dry ice, though, but Meijer does. I'm like, go to Meijer, get a chunk of dry ice, throw it in the freezer. It'll last. It'll work. It'll save product. Everybody's like, what do I do with this product? I don't know. Up to you. You can eat it. You can give it away. You can try and sell it if you want. It's your fucking product. But it's a bar now. This ice cream has melted down to a bar, and it's no longer the dots. It's no longer the gimmick of the product. Do whatever the fuck you want with it. I don't give a shit. Am I giving you a break? No, because you're dicks. Because you're fucking dicks. I did give one place a break today because I like the guys. So that's the thing too, everybody. Sometimes in business, if you're not a fucking dick, maybe you'll get a fucking break on shit. Just fucking unreal. Fucking unreal. So I got to get back to the warehouse and I got to clean out these freezers. These 3 fucking freezers. I got to clean them out. The fucking, the chest freezer was fine, more or less. I don't think they'd ever used it. God knows if they ever used it. But the other 2 were just fucking, had old product, shit product in it. So I had to clean them out. Dirty. My coworkers, the 2 young bucks, the 2 young guns, the 2 fuck faces. They don't like cleaning out the freezers. They just take the freezer out, put it fucking by the drain. We got a drain because when we hose these things out, you can hose things right into the drain. They'll just leave it there. They expect someone else to clean out. Someone else has to be their bitch. And I want to tell my boss, listen, boss, sometimes you have to be the boss and you got to tell fucks to do their fucking job. Or maybe shit will happen to them in the parking lot one day. Speaking of which, I got something in the mail today. Holy shit. I have taken to like an unfortunate new hobby now of I peruse Wish, that the fucking Chinese version of fucking Amazon. It's just all bullshit. You never know what you're going to find. I mean, you can search for shit and maybe they'll have shit, but everything's like super cheap and who the fuck knows what it is. But then I saw something for this, like, I'm into the kind of like these self-defense weapons. Like that's where I think I got the brass knuckles that I have, I think came from Wish. You can get weird things. And so I saw this weird kind of like stun gun type. It's a ring, but it's a stun gun. And it was like wicked fucking cheap. And I'm like, all right, whatever. Let's fucking see what this is. And so this box came today, and it was the goddamn ring. Although it's strange. It came from someplace in Texas. And the box itself, it just says 806. Now, I don't know what 806 signifies. There's nothing else on the box. It's just a black box. It says 806. And it's got the fucking ring thing. And it's got the charger for it. And, I mean, it's just something that you wear around, I'm assuming, your middle finger. And I'm just like looking at it. I'm like, what the fuck? And they said, okay, you just hit it on, and it's got a little red light to tell you that's on. And then all of a sudden, when they're like, yeah, you just hit the button, and listen to the sound, everybody. That's the sound. And it's the God, I gotta turn this off. It is the looks of like a stun gun that you'll see on TV, you know, little electricity things going between these 2 prongs. And I'm assuming you just take it and you punch somebody with it or you get real close. I have no idea if it works, if it's just electricity and a crazy noise. I mean, how do I know it works? Like, I don't want to get in a position where I actually need it to work and then I use it and then it doesn't fucking work. It's just all fucking smoke and mirrors. It's just a weird bit of electricity and a fucking crazy electricity noise. I mean, I'm not going to try. Should I try it out on one of the dogs? Sadie, come here. She's looking at me like, what? I'm not getting near you with that fucking thing. So now I own this fucking thing. I don't even know how much I paid for it. Let me go look. I'm going to look on my Wish list. Have you guys ever purchased anything on Wish? Let me see. There it is. There it was. It disappeared. Hold on. Wait a minute. Let me go back to my order history. Hi, Ween. Don't come over here, Ween. I might fucking shock you with my fucking new ring thing. There it is. Wow, I paid too much money for it, everybody. According to this thing, I paid $16 for it. I have no idea if I paid that much money for this fucking thing. I have no idea, but we'll never know if it works. Because part of what I take a little bit of pride in, everybody, is that I don't go to places where something like that would happen. I try not to get involved in a situation where I fucking feel like I need to defend myself in a capacity like that. I live in a weird neighborhood, yes. But I've never felt like, shit, I need to have something here. I actually, to be perfectly honest, I think I would feel more comfortable with my brass knuckles than this weird fucking stun gun thing. I don't know. Have you guys seen that video of the preseason game from this past weekend? It was the Chargers versus the Rams, both LA teams now. It's weird to call the Chargers LA, but I guess it's been that way for a year or two now. But there was a fight in the stands. Charger fans and Ram fans going at it, and it's hard to say who started it, who did what, who's responsible. But essentially, I'm looking at this video, and it was nothing but just fat fucks. Just pummeling each other. It was like the fattest dude I think he was a Charger fan, and like 3 Ram fans just grab him and pull him over the seats. So this guy is just prone, and they just show these 3 dudes just wailing on this guy. One dude's like just punching this dude in the butt. I'm like, how drunk are you guys that you have taken to punching this dude in the butt? And so all these assholes are swinging on each other, but their hands are all just like fat. It's all like they fucking have like cushions on their hands from all the fat. I honestly don't know if anyone got hurt. All these fucking idiots just punching each other, just ridiculous. But that's when you wish, okay, now I wish I had this fucking stun gun ring thing. Just dumb drunk fucks. This is at a preseason game. I think like Saturday afternoon, and just fat fucking dumb drunk fucks deciding to fucking battle it out. And it's just, for me, it's just like it's interesting to see how human beings can interact with each other. Now, there were some women there that I'm assuming were with some of these dudes. Now, I'm not putting this on the women, but shouldn't there be a certain level of, honey, let's let it go. Let it go. Let's leave here. It's just a stupid football game. It's preseason, whatever. Like, I was fully expecting to get some sort of shit. I went to the preseason game Friday night between the Lions and the Bills, and I'm all decked out in my Bills gear. And the Bills won, and I had fun. But ultimately, I knew that it was a preseason game. Essentially, it's just practice, everybody. It's practice. It's for new guys to kind of figure out to see if they're going to get on the team, and old guys to shake off some rust. It's as simple as that. And I was fully expecting to get some grief for some people. And I'm like, yep, whatever. Preseason, bitch. I don't give a fuck. I could have cared less. If they had lost, they would have lost. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean a fucking thing. It's practice. So these all fucking idiots are just jawing at each other and punching each other. It took forever for security to get there, too. It was several minutes before security showed up. I don't understand that at all. You would think there'd be like a security guard or an usher or somebody standing at like every fucking entrance, right? I mean, I wouldn't expect just an usher to fucking hop into shit. I mean, they're not there to deal with that nonsense, but they're the ones that can hop on their walkie-talkie or whatever, go, hey, we got some dumb fat fucks going at it, swinging ham hocks at each other. It's just stupid. I'm sure if you guys give a shit, I'm sure you can find it super easy. Just put Rams Chargers fan fight. You'll find it. It's kind of amusing to watch. I can't lie. I found it amusing. I do think the one big fat guy, he did have a bloody nose or something, but I don't even know if anyone got arrested. Whatever. Bunch of dummies. Bunch of fucking dummies. So tonight, I was supposed to have a meeting tonight. I was supposed to meet up with two dudes, and we were going to talk about spoken word opportunity. You know, I'm looking for a show for storytelling purposes. Now, apparently there's one storytelling show in Grand Rapids, but it's Wednesdays at 10 at this bar called Mulligan's, and I'm not gonna lie, I fucking just don't want to go to Mulligan's on a Wednesday night at 10 o'clock. Fuck that shit. No interest. I'd rather perform at some place on a Tuesday at 8 o'clock or whatever, a much earlier time. And Mulligan's, while I have enjoyed Mulligan's over the years, it's just kind of like a weird fucking towny bar. It's got that kind of vibe. It's not, I wouldn't say it's inviting. It's not inviting to fucking everybody. So I want to go to a place that's more just kind of open, more kind of inviting, more like not grungy and dirty and grimy and whatever, which if you've been to Mulligan's, you absolutely know what the fuck I'm talking about. So one guy said, hey man, let's knock our heads together and we'll think of something. And he's like, oh, let's add to this other guy. I'm like, all right, great, fuck, add everybody, man. I just want to perform at one. I don't necessarily need to take over a show. I don't need to start a show. I'll help with the show, but fuck me. So these guys are all busy. So this past week, they're like, okay, we'll meet on Monday, which is today, Monday. All right, we'll meet on Monday. And then this morning, the one guy who started all of this, he's like, yeah, I can't be involved in this. And I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, you were the one who wanted to fucking do all this shit, you fuck. I just can't get involved. I'm like, what? Why? He's like, I can't get into it now. I'm like, what do you mean? You're the one. I just want to do the show. I don't want to start a show. And he had grandiose ideas too. He's like, wanted to do it at Fountain Street Church, which sits like 1,500 people. He actually wanted to align it with the Moth, that NPR storytelling show, which, I mean, that would be good. It's good to have like the brand or whatever, the label. But I'm sure there's some sort of like cost involved with that too, of calling it Grand Rapids the Moth or whatever, and I don't want to fucking pay for anything like that. So everything fell apart. So back to the drawing board. I actually had originally talked with another guy about maybe doing something at his venue. So we'll see. We'll see. I just want another opportunity to do some shit that isn't necessarily jokey joke, that's, stand-up oriented or improv oriented or whatever. Fuck. I just want to fucking tell a story, and if it's funny in the process, it's great. And if it's not funny, fuck, it doesn't matter, because it's a storytelling show, not a fucking comedy show. So I don't necessarily understand everything that's going over on in Afghanistan. Have you guys been following it all? I'm finding it very difficult to follow along, just because my interest in it is minimal. There has been, I know we've been over there forever. We invaded it back in like 2001 or whatever, when George W. Bush was in office, and he was like, we got to fucking handle some shit. And, all because of the fucking, the terrorists who took down the Twin Towers, and we're like, oh, they all live in Afghanistan or whatever. So we went over to Afghanistan. We occupied Afghanistan. We've been there 20 years. What have we accomplished over there? I don't fucking know. Have we accomplished any fucking thing? Just these fucking assholes. Just fucking, they live all over the goddamn place, right? I don't fucking know what's going on. And so they apparently were trying to train their government forces to kind of handle things, take on the Taliban. the Taliban. And so then, like, last week or 2 weeks ago or whatever, Biden's like, yeah, we're pulling out. The Afghan government can handle it themselves. We're not here to be fucking cops of the world. You know, you guys need to handle your own shit. So we pulled out, and holy fuck. The forces of Afghanistan, the government of Afghanistan, apparently were shit. They couldn't handle a fucking thing. Because it's all back now. Back to the fucking Taliban rule. Like there's a crazy map here of sections of the country that are owned by the Taliban, and others are government controlled, and some are kind of like, I don't know what's what. Just just such a weird fucking country. I don't understand any of it, but it's now apparently all controlled by the Taliban, and so they were looking to pull out all U.S. Civilians and politicians from the embassy in Kabul, and so they're all at the airport there in Kabul. And it's reminiscent of, did you ever see the movie World War Z with Brad Pitt? It's all about fucking zombies that have just taken over. And in that movie, zombies don't move slowly. They move like fucking ants. They're fast and they crawl over each other. And there was a scene at the airport where planes are trying to take off and the fucking zombies are just grabbing on and whatever, this, that. It's just mayhem. And that's kind of what it fucking looks like. It's just crazy to me. And I just am like, well, what do we do as a country? Is America, are we supposed to play police for everybody? Are we supposed to control all of these countries? Now, the Taliban seems like they seem like dicks. Their ideas of shit are completely different than our ideas. They seem very oppressive and repressive. But we don't fucking live over there. They fucking live over there. So what are we supposed to do? What do we do? We just be there forever. It's kind of like, people comparing it to Vietnam. And hell, I think we were in Afghanistan longer than fucking we were in Vietnam. It's the same shit. I feel bad for these people. I hate oppressive religions. Bunch of fucking dicks. But at the same time, what are we responsible for? I don't know. Tell me what you think. Should we have stayed there? Do we just stay in Afghanistan forever? Do we just nuke the country? Should we just nuke them now? I'd say nuke them back to the Stone Age, but it looks like they fucking already live in the Stone Age. Jesus. Hey, Larry. Larry, my cat, who I affectionately call Bad Larry because that's what he is, he really loves my dog Sadie. He comes over and he just head rubs her and he follows her around. It's very odd because she just doesn't care a whole lot. It was very funny. She tolerates him. Right, Sadie Dog? You tolerate Larry? Your boyfriend Larry? Fucking who says dogs and cats don't get along? All right. You guys know me and my lists. Here's a list. This is 16 myths about the human body that you've seen over and over again, even though they're not true. Number 1, the tongue map with specific regions for tasting sweet, salty, sour, and bitter is bogus. It's weird. You know how it's sweet is the tip of your tongue, salty's in the front sides, sour's back sides, and bitter's at the end. It's all bullshit. It's all fucking bullshit. Number 2, apparently urine is not sterile. A long existing medical assumption was that patients who tested positive for bacteria in the urine have urinary tract disorders. But scientists at Loyola University discovered in a 2014 study that this isn't necessarily true and confirmed their findings In a 2015 follow-up, different types of bacteria may indicate different types of medical conditions, allowing doctors to develop more targeted treatments. To sum up, the bacteria found in your pee may be harmless or present only in small amounts, but it is there. Oh my God, that's gross. Shaving your body hair won't make it grow back thicker or darker. I don't know, man. Maybe? I don't know. I've often felt when I shave, like, in between my eyebrows, that's caused problems. Fingers and hair don't continue to grow after growth. That was an actual thing? Don't continue to grow after growth? Is that what I fucking said? That's what I said. They don't continue to grow after death. Now, why would anything continue to grow after death? Stupid. Swallowing chewing gum doesn't stick around your digestive system for 7 years. Yeah, I wouldn't think that would be true either, man. The acid in your fucking stomach's pretty goddamn good. 6, cracking your knuckles won't increase your chances of developing arthritis. That's good to know. I've never been a good knuckle cracker. I can't really do it. I'm always amazed at people who crack their knuckles and their neck and everything else. It's weird. Detox teas don't actually flush toxins out of your body. And detox outside of the context of medical treatment of people with life-threatening drug addictions is pretty much a myth. Well, there you go. I wouldn't think that to be true anyway. Any kind of shit like that just seems stupid to me. Humans have more than 5 senses? What? Hearing, smell, taste, vision, and touch. The idea that sight, taste, smell, touch, and hearing are the only one stems from Aristotle, who argued that for every sense there is a sense organ. We have ears for hearing, a tongue for tasting, eyes for seeing, and so on and so forth. But Aristotle was missing a key sense organ, the vestibular system, aka the apparatus of inner ear involved in balance. Huh. Well, fuck you, Aristotle. You fucking blew it. Monosodium glutamate isn't tied to negative health effects, and the so-called, because it's MSG, called Chinese restaurant syndrome is supposedly causes is based on nothing more than unscientific letter written to the New England Journal of Medicine in 1968. Huh. Let me see here. The letter writer, a doctor, complained of numbness in the back of the neck, weakness, and heart palpitations following the consumption of Chinese food. He speculated that MSG was causing his symptoms, and everyone ran with that for decades. One flawed study conducted in 1969 administered MSG via injections in large doses on an empty stomach and concluded that it was inherently bad for you, despite the fact that that's not the way people consume MSG in the real world. That's true. Number 10, you can't get warts by touching a toad or a frog. It's such a stupid thing. The idea that humans only use 10% of the brain is so wrong it is almost laughable. Yeah, I don't even use 10. According to John Henley, a neurologist at the Mayo Clinic, evidence would show over a day you use 100% of the brain. Another neurologist, Barry Gordon, says that most of the brain is active almost all the time. For instance, even when you're asleep, the frontal cortex, responsible for higher level thinking, and the somatosensory areas, which help you sense your surroundings, are still doing their things. Excuse me. So we apparently use 100% of our brain 100% of the time, even though I'm pretty stupid. So that's pretty sad that I use 100% of my brain and I'm still this stupid. Number 12, not waiting 30 minutes or an hour after eating to go swimming doesn't mean you're going to get a cramp and drown. Yeah, that's wives' tale. 13, humans don't lose a disproportionate amount of body heat through their heads. Now, I've heard that your head's not the biggest thing on your body. You'll lose more from other things, but fuck me, man. I know when it's cold out and I don't wear a hat, it's just shit. I feel like I lose more heat out of my head. My brain is up there, and it's got all that fucking brain activity, that 10% of brain activity up there. Every medical show on TV has been lying to you because shocking someone in a systole will not get their heart beating again. What? The flat line represents a lack of electrical activity in the heart, which is as bad as it sounds. A shock from an automated external defibrillator wouldn't help a person in asystole. I just said that wrong, I'm sure. The correct treatment would be to CPR to keep blood flowing and oxygen flowing, and a high dose of adrenaline. Okay. Waking a sleepover won't kill them. Yeah, why would it kill them? I've never understood that. Just wake them the fuck up. They aren't going to do anything. And finally, rust doesn't give you tetanus. What? The relationship between rust and Clostridium tetani, the bacteria that causes tetanus, is purely correlative, not causative. That is, we associate the two because the bacteria is often found in soil that is rich in organic material like manure or dead leaves, which indicate conditions that would also lead to abandoned metal objects rusting. Additionally, the type of puncture wound that you'd get from stepping on a rusty nail creates the perfect tunnel through which the bacteria can enter the body and wreak havoc. So while rust may not equal tetanus, they do hang out in the same circles. So there we go, everybody. Now we know some shit. I'm going to end on this here, everybody. And I just bring it up because I'm like, politicians are fucking shit fucks. And I don't even know if this person was a politician. They were a top vaccination official down there in Tennessee. Dr. Michelle Fiscus. This was back in July. She was fired back in July. And the reason she was fired, I guess she's pro-mask. She's pro-mask. She thinks kids should wear masks all the time. She believes that her firing was politically motivated. And in the weeks after her firing, Fiscus slammed the state in a 1,200-word statement and accused health department leaders of allowing politics to undermine the state's coronavirus response. She says she was a scapegoat for Republican lawmakers who were displeased with efforts to vaccinate children. So all this shit. She's pro-vaccine, pro-mask, all of this shit. But what happened with her is that she received a dog muzzle in the mail, right? You're like, holy fuck. Who is sending her a fucking dog muzzle? This was back in July as well. Fiscus reportedly received an anonymous package containing a muzzle days before she was fired from the Tennessee Department of Health. So there was an investigation from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security because they're like, oh, fuck, are people threatening her? Like, why would you send a dog muzzle to anybody, right? Like, clearly that's like a veiled threat of some kind. The muzzle came from Amazon. It was an Amazon-branded box, but it was anonymous and who it was from. But when the Homeland Security did an investigation in it, what did they find, everybody? What did they find? They found, holy fuck, Dr. Fiscus had 2 Amazon accounts. Motherfucker. The first account was the account that Dr. Fiscus allowed them to review during their interview with her. The second account was the account that the muzzle was purchased on. The Amex card number on both accounts was Fiscus's. So Fiscus sent it to herself. The muzzle was sent from an account created in March this year that only has Fiscus's health department office address connected to it. The agent also investigated emails sent to Fiscus' official health department account, but determined they did not constitute a threat. So it seems as though she was trying to stage some shit. Now, I'm all about her stance on people should get vaccinated, people should wear masks. But I'm not about fucking trying to manipulate situations by sending yourself a goddamn fucking dog muzzle. as if to say that she should be silenced. She sent it to herself. Fucking shitbag. God damn. And she denies it, though. She says, no, I did not send it to myself. Well, who the fuck sent it to you then? Who would have known? Who had access to your credit card? Who had access to that Amazon account? Get the fuck out of here. You sent it to yourself to make other people look bad. It's fucking garbage. Fucking garbage. Go out and get vaccinated, everybody. I got myself the flu shot this weekend. Get yourself a flu shot if you can, too. Wear a mask. Fuck, you're probably less likely to get the flu if you're wearing a mask. So a couple things, everybody. I'm going to remind you, August 28th, less than 2 weeks away, we're going to be doing a live podcast. It's going to be our second live podcast. Jamie will be there. Graham Van Bach has confirmed that he will be there. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, everybody. So August 28th, live podcast, to be followed by a showing of the movie Cocktail, the Tom Cruise Elizabeth Shue classic. So it's going to start at 7 o'clock. It will be out in the palatial estates of Mr. Mike Pellerito in Lake Odessa, Michigan. I will make a Facebook Evite in the next week. I will have all the information. We're going to start around 7. The whole thing will probably be over about around 10, so it won't be super late. It'll be free. We'll probably do a pass the hat kind of thing. But it'll be a whole lot of fun. And I got some goodies to give to people who show. If more people show than the goodies that I have, then we'll just do a drawing for it. How about that? I got like 6 of them, I think. So we're going to have some fun, everybody. We're going to have a whole lot of fun. Is there anything else? Oh, that's about it for that. If you guys can do a couple things for me, I want you to go check out my boy, John Midgley. He's a social worker and a magician. He's got a Facebook page for his magic exploits, so go follow that page. It's Magic JBM, John Badass Midgley. So go follow along that page, Magic JBM, and you'll get to see his videos. And he promotes other magicians and all sorts of good stuff. So go over there, check it out on Facebook, Magic JBM. Then we got Adam House and his wife Stephanie. They eat coleslaw. And they do videos of themselves eating coleslaw over on their page, The Sunday Slaw. So go like their page, follow along. They're down in Orlando. They're on vacation, everybody. They're trying to eat coleslaw every day, I think. So go follow along on their page, The Sunday Slaw. Then we got the Whole Thing Donut Shop in Forney, Texas. Gourmet donut shop. Who knew that Texas could handle a gourmet donut shop? But they can. So go check out their page, The Whole Thing Donut Shop in Forney, Texas. Hit the like button. And if you're ever down in Dallas, go check them out. That's where Forney is. If nothing else, go like the page. Please do that. And then last but not least, another episode podcast. That's my buddy Matt Harper and his partner Mandy Elaine. They talk about movies that shaped their childhood. So these are movies that are like a good 20, 30 years old. So they're all old movies that I'm sure you've seen, you've at least heard of. And they talk about it. It's always a lot of fun. They play games. It's a good time. So follow along on your favorite podcast platform. Every Wednesday, new episodes drop. And you can follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter as well. Another episode podcast. And Matt's, he's the one who's providing the screen. He's got like a 20-foot screen, movie screen, that we'll be showing Cocktail on. So kudos to him for that. So do those things. Consider subscribing to my Patreon. Patreon, we do every other day. Freebies Mondays and Thursdays. Patreon pretty much every other day. Same shit. It's just one less ice mocha in your life. $5 going to me. So that's it. You guys were great. Appreciate it. I will talk to you tomorrow on the Patreon. Have a good one. Goodbye.